History of Russia in 100 Minutes by Smart Histories. Boris Yeltsin. After the collapse of the Soviet Union, Russia became a constitutional republic. Boris Yeltsin's reign as the first president was, at first, characterized by high hopes of democracy and prosperity. Nevertheless, along with crime, corruption, and poverty on the rise, it turned out to be a disappointment and a harsh experience for most Russians. Background: during the final years of the Soviet Union, Boris Yeltsin became one of its most popular statesmen. He gained nearly 60% of the votes at the presidential election in 1991. Yeltsin expressed his support for freedom of speech and a free market economy. Shock therapy. Under the supervision of experts from the United States and the IMF, International Monetary Fund, the first Prime Minister, Yegor Gaidar, launched a series of radical reforms that came to be known as the shock therapy. Markets were left to self-regulation, prices were freed, and state subsidies were ended. Orchestrated by Anatoly Shobai's, an enormous campaign of privatization was launched. The shock therapy further escalated the economic crisis and caused an even more dramatic decline in living conditions. Over the next 5 years, there was a decline of up to 50% in GDP, and hyperinflation soared to 2,000%. It made a small elite of oligarchs super rich, while the majority of the people struggled. It fed the spread of corruption and created favorable conditions for the numerous mafia groups around the country. Constitutional crisis. In 1993, the Russian constitutional crisis broke out between Yeltsin and Parliament. The Parliament, unsatisfied with President Yeltsin's policies, attempted to impeach him, but was prevented by the army who supported Yeltsin. For 2 weeks, the deadliest street fighting since 1917 took place in Moscow, and hundreds of people died. The new constitution gave the president broader powers. First Chechen War. After Chechnya declared independence, Russia sent troops in, and the First Chechen War, 1994 to 1996, had begun. Contrary to popular expectation, the conflict lasted over 2 years. Russia had to withdraw its troops and terminate the unpopular war effort. Re-election, economic collapse, and resignation. In 1996, Yeltsin's declining reputation was successfully reboosted for re-election with the help of the oligarchs, Boris Berezovsky, Vladimir Guzinsky, Roman Abramovich, and others. Yeltsin ran for a second term and won. Because of Yeltsin's severe health problems, much of the president's power fell into the hands of his inner circle called the family. Besides Berezovsky, the family consisted of his wife, Nina, and his daughter, Tatiana Yumasheva, with her husband, Valentin. Cabinets came and went. The most important prime ministers were Viktor Chernomyrdin, Yevgeny Primakov, and Sergei Stepashin. In 1998, the Russian financial crisis hit the economy hard, and the ruble was devalued. Exhausted by health problems, Boris Yeltsin resigned on the last day of 1999. He apologized in his resignation speech for not having achieved his goals, and named the relatively young and unknown Prime Minister Vladimir Putin his successor. Thank you for watching. For thousands of helpful resources of Russian history, please visit our website at smarthistories.com.